Now for what's trending in true crime, a Tennessee woman is charged with first-degree murder after allegedly drowning her 7-year-old daughter for not leaving her alone. Brandi Elliot told police she was having a bad day and just needed some, quote, time alone. But when her daughter wouldn't stop bothering her, police say she took little Piper across the street to a lake and drowned her. According to court documents, Elliot claimed that she held the girl underwater until she felt her bubbling and told her to be quiet. Nick Barris from Scripps News Nashville has more.
This is a park in Greenway in Hendersonville along Old Hickory Lake, where a mother and daughter would often come and walk, maybe feed the ducks. But what happened this time was almost beyond comprehension.
It's extremely shocking. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
Hendersonville police arrested 33-year-old Brandi Elliot on Saturday. She is charged with first-degree murder in the death of her 7-year-old daughter, Piper. Elliot told officers she wanted time alone after having a rough day, but that Piper would not leave her alone. So Elliot took her across the street to the lake and admitted to holding the child's head underwater until she stopped breathing. Piper later died at the hospital.
It's not like the Brandi that we knew.
Deanna Sartain is a friend of Elliot's, having worked with her for several years, and she knew Piper.
She was always smiling. She was just a very vivacious child.
Sartain says that on Saturday, Elliot took Piper to visit her father in the hospital, and everything seemed fine.
They went there, and Piper had colored him some pages for him to put on the wall. And then 2 hours later, Piper had passed away.
Police say murdered by her own mother. Is there any way you can explain this? What do you think could have led her to do this?
Yeah, I keep analyzing it, and there's nothing, Nick. There's nothing I just don't get it.
This case is horrifying. Now this morning, we're asking the question, what would make a mother seemingly snap like this? We've got a great power panel standing by. Let's welcome them in now. Criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Michael J. Brown, entertainment reporter Kinsey Schofield, and trial attorney and law professor Dante Mills. Great to see you all. This is just horrifying, as you all know, and heartbreaking. Kinsey, would you start off our conversation, please, with your thoughts?
Absolutely. I mean, some good news is that the community is really rallying around the child's father, John Elliot. According to friends, his little girl meant everything to him. John is a disabled military vet. He was injured as a Marine. He's been hospitalized and was in critical care when this incident happened. He's since been moved into a regular hospital. His friends are collecting donations through GoFundMe for funeral arrangements, but Julie, also for basic everyday needs. With his wife in jail, it sounds like she perhaps was maybe the only caretaker he had at home, and she's no longer available to him. So I'm wondering, could this be one of Brandi Elliot's mitigating factors? Was she overwhelmed caring for both her husband and her child, working at McDonald's? I mean, was she stressed about medical debt and just at the end of the day overwhelmed? It's no excuse, but it does sound like she had a very difficult home life.
Kinsey, thank you for that. That's a really great point and a great question for our lawyer guests, Dante and Michael. So let's talk about that, being, the sole caretaker and having it come to this, the death of one's own child. Dante, to you first, please, on this one. Might that be a mitigator?
It may be a mitigating factor, but there's other things that counterbalance it, like the fact that she said when her daughter was 2, something similar happened. She said she snapped when she was 2, but then realized that it was postpartum depression. However, when you have that act where she almost hurts her child before, there should have been some kind of monitoring, because that's a warning sign. And the fact that it was possible to happen again, which in fact it did. So you wonder if she had those issues before, why she wasn't getting some kind of mental treatment or constantly under some kind of observation. It's also interesting that her attorney declined to have her evaluated, declined to have her mental health evaluated. I don't know why they would do that, because seemingly the only defense here is going to be that she lost it in that moment and that she has some mental issues. So I'm curious to see where this goes as to an excuse why this happened or some kind of mitigating factor, because we know she committed this murder, but the why, I think everybody is just curious to know, because it's such a horrible, horrible crime.
Absolutely, Dante, you're right. And I'm so good you mentioned that about the mental competency. Michael J. Brown, I've saved this question for you. So we have the clip where both sides, Brandi Elliott's attorney and the prosecution, both said, we're going to decline that eval. And as Dante said, it's kind of questionable as to why they would say that, because we know that she was diagnosed with postpartum depression. She told the judge that she was diagnosed with postpartum when Piper was 2 years old. Had that diagnosis. She told the court that at her arraignment on Tuesday. Let's listen to what was said by the attorneys.
My question to you, have you ever been under the care of a mental health professional?
When my daughter was 2, I kind of lost it, like I did this time. And I had postpartum depression, and they gave me medicine for it. And I was having a really bad time with sleeping, and I was working at the Gap.
So you were under the care of a mental health professional at one point?
After they just gave me medicine, and I went to Centennial.
Okay, all right.
For postpartum depression.
Mr. James or State, do you wish to have Ms. Elliott evaluated for mental competency at this time, or a mental evaluation for incident?
I do not, Your Honor.
From the State?
Your Honor, on this one.
Okay, so competency and insanity at the time of an offense are two different inquiries. Michael J. Brown, would you speak to this, please, and tell us what you think may be going on, what may be the attorney's strategy for this mother?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I agree, Julie, you hit the nail on the head. Competency, insanity, two different things. So I think it's clear from the interaction we just saw that she's competent at the moment to understand the nature and gravity of the charges and the proceeding that's going on. The mental disease defect or the insanity aspect is really about what happened at the moment when this crime, if it was committed, That's completely different. So I agree with the defense attorney in the sense of let's delay things. Let's just take a breath. Let's look at some of the evidence that they may have. And certainly at some point down the road, we can potentially put the claim in, the notice in for this defense, and we can have an expert evaluate her. But it doesn't need to be done at that very moment.
Michael, appreciate it. And so in terms of other steps, let's keep it going. Other steps her team might be taking right now to look to, as you said, the insanity defense down the road. Dante, some other ideas, some thoughts on what they may be doing to try to help mitigate, as Kinsey said, these horrific circumstances of this child's death?
Given the nature of the facts and because she confessed essentially to committing this crime, giving the details of it, it's no doubt that she was the one who committed this murder. What she should be doing, what her attorney should be doing, is negotiating for her life to be spared and no death penalty, because she's eligible for it. And the prosecutor in this case just confirmed that they knew she was eligible for it. They did not say that they were going to seek the death penalty. But because it's an option, I think her attorney should at least have the inquiry and question the prosecutors as to whether or not there's a way that they can negotiate this down, have some kind of plea deal where her life is spared. I think that has to be a conversation, because there's no way outside of an evaluation that proves that in that moment she did have that temporary insanity for the moment. I think outside of that, there's really no way for her to be found innocent or not guilty of this. So you're going to negotiate down for the best option for sentencing moving forward.
Right. Dante, thank you for all of that. Yes. Kinsey, on the other side of this, of course, anyone in the public reads this story and is horrified, just horrified. Probably hard to find sympathy, for this mother like this, who's blessed with this beautiful child, little Piper, who has her best years ahead of her, and then she kills her and admits to it. Tells police what happened, as Dante noted. The public sentiment, tell us a little bit about what you're seeing in terms of sentiment. Is there any understanding for perhaps a mental health problem at the time?
I'm not seeing that yet, and maybe people need some time to digest this. But right now, people are saying, "Can you not go in your bathroom and lock the door?" I mean, what could you not go in the garage and just scream? The fact that she took it really feels like there was some thought put into this, which I think is what breaks everyone's hearts. But again, so much sympathy for the father. John, over 100 people have contributed to this GoFundMe. He's 50% to his goal. And unfortunately, they couldn't have the service for her funeral service, until he's released from the hospital. We expect that to be within the next 2 weeks.
Kinsey, thank you for all of that information. Michael J. Brown, would you take us home, please? When you have a case like this, and you're defending it, it's high profile, and you're certainly no stranger to high profile cases, and you have a child victim, how does that kind of worsen things in terms of the optics surrounding the case?
It's horrible, Julie. I mean, you're dealing with, there's nothing more innocent in terms of a victim than a child. They did absolutely nothing wrong. It's her own child, which just accelerates and aggravates the situation tenfold. It's horrific. But, we have a job to do. Dante and I do this every day. And when you have a situation like this, you obviously concede that the act itself is horrible, but you do your best to mitigate. In this particular case, she had this postpartum depression in the past. She may have some, and again, it's not an excuse, it's not a defense, but in terms of mitigation, there may be some type of mental issue that the mom has had. I don't understand how else she could have committed this act, and you do your best, as Dante pointed out earlier, to save her life. If the evidence is all there, which it appears to be at first blush, so you do your best to just mitigate the circumstances.
And Michael, thank you for that really informative conversation with you all. Of course, our hearts go out to Precious Piper Elliott and everyone who loved her. We'll continue following the legal developments on this one.